What's going on, guys? Welcome to a new series of episode reviews. This is for To Your Eternity Season 3. This is episode 1, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah. Well, now we're entering a brand new era in the storyline. This time taking place in the modern day. Um. Okay. So last we saw Fushi is like he gets into like this hibernation state in which he connects himself like through these roots like all over the earth, so he can in a, like, the reason why he's doing this is so he can eliminate the knockers and uh, create this peaceful utopia uh, later in the future. So, of course, many generations later, um, we see it pass into the modern day, and he immediately wakes up after this, and pretty much gets to explore everything in the modern day, which, of course, obviously he's
Hmm.
not immediately familiar with. Um, but of course, major instance is him immediately getting run over by a truck, and you know, and of course, due to him being an immortal, he obviously just gets up from it, and not many people really seem to question or freak out about it, which is a bit weird.
I guess there's only like one guy that asked if he was okay.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, I mean,
but
he takes him to the hospital. He offers to pay
oh yeah,
he
yeah,
offers to pay the medical bills, and then he posts like whatever he filmed into his social media feed, which is a bit weird.
yeah. I mean, that's already kind of unbelievable too. Because I mean, can you imagine how much those medical bills probably were just to have him have like get X-rays and
Yeah,
stuff?
technically Fushi would be physically fine because he regenerated.
Yeah,
But I
but Fushi's more like curious about it because he like everything is pretty much unfamiliar to him.
yeah,
He doesn't know what all this
I mean
stuff
it's
is.
weird that someone
Um,
would immediately offer to pay for, I guess it would be X-ray bills in a way, but I don't know like how much it
well,
would technically cost. It,
I mean, there's also stuff later on in the episode that's kind of even more unbelievable too, as opposed to people just not really having much of a reaction to Fushi getting run over by a truck, um, because of like I mean just some of the new characters we get introduced to and that Fushi ends up interacting with, and how they kind of sort of I mean it's kind of don't really seem to. Well, I mean, they do have a reaction to it, but it's like they kind of just accept that. I guess it's just kind of normal that he can, do what he does. Uh, but yeah, aside from Fushi, we get introduced to a new cast of characters. Uh, I forget what they're part of some club. Um, like there's this one kid who like wants to, I guess, research all these the interconnected branches that are connected back to Fushi, and uh, then there's another girl that we see that I think it's pretty obvious who she's related to just based on her appearance. Um, but it seems like I guess the main important character is this one kid who I don't know if he's the leader of the club, but he seems to be like I guess
he says
the only member
he
that's
says he's the
like
vice president of the club or something.
okay,
Um,
yeah,
we do know that this female character is named as Mizuha. Uh, it's pretty much
yeah,
obvious that she is a descendant of Hayase. Um, and of course, like we see that she has a mother that um, it's hard to tell like about this mother in particular because she it seems like she expects a lot from her daughter, like pretty much to succeed in every single subject. I mean, and she has this
hmm,
weird habit of taking selfies of different objects that she's holding, including taking selfies of her and her daughter, in terms of like what she can accomplish. But in terms of like well, for Misa in particular, like she it seems like she quits like almost every single club she excels in each and every time. Like I think she quit kendo, she quit dancing, or quit this and this and that. But of course, like she just quits out of boredom for each and every one of them. And obviously, she feels like she doesn't have a lot of free time in her hands just because her mother is constantly putting her into this position to, to excel in, all these activities.
Yeah. Also, we see for some reason, I guess she has some kind of an estranged relationship with her grandfather, mostly because her mother doesn't want her to interact with him for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
and then there's like kind of a weird scene, like after the scene where she's interacting with her mother, where she's like alone on the balcony and she says something about like, I forget the exact line. She says something about like how he wants, I guess she wants to die or something, and starts like scratching her arm.
yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah, so I'm kind of wondering what all that's
yeah, the
about.
scratching her
Uh,
arm part. I would imagine that
I
it's probably a knocker in her arm.
yeah, that could be that.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I'm kind of hoping they somewhat like buck the trend of every like descendant of the Hayase clan just being completely insane. Because like if you remember like at the last season, that one guy who was a descendant of Hayase, like he seemed pretty fairly normal at first, and then like as the season went on, and he found out I guess that Fushi could transform himself into a woman. He became like just completely obsessed with him, and just like also became like just crazy about it, like crazy in love with him. And I'm kind of hoping that's not where this is going with her. Like I'm hoping that there's going to be something different about her character, where she's not just going to be completely like infatuated with Fushi to the extent where she just goes, just completely insane. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I have a feeling that
Uh,
that might be the case, just due to the fact that
yeah. I mean, especially if we take any of the clues we get from the new opening, then maybe I don't know. It seems like that might be the direction they're going with it. And speaking of the new opening, at least we get a new song, because I was honestly like, as much as I like Pink Blood, I was like really hoping they weren't going to reuse it again, because they did that in season 2, and I'm just like, I don't know.
I don't
I'm glad that they used
I
something
don't even
else.
know why they even reused that song. I mean, it
Yeah,
was fine for the first season.
I don't know. Maybe it was just like laziness on their part. They didn't really. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, at least they finally got a new opening this time. Um,
Yeah,
Also, like when Fushi woke up, he also resurrected some of his friends from the past. Um, I think they
yeah,
he resurrected.
and
Uh,
well, yeah. So he resurrects March, and then he resurrects some of the others too. I think one of them is Aiko later on. And I guess if we're going to take anything from the opening as well, it seems like after he resurrects his friends, I guess they're all going to be like trying to live like I guess like new lives in the modern world. It seems.
yeah,
Um,
it seems like that might be the case because he wants to create like a peaceful utopia for all of his friends. Um, but of course, like obviously they're not going to be familiar with all this new new technology and this new just this new landscape that they're going to be waking up in. Um,
mhm.
I mean, March seems to take it pretty well because by the time she wakes up, I mean, she accidentally
Yeah.
wakes up in some kind of museum, and then when Fushi goes to meet her, he sees her like I guess apparently she got adopted by by some family, and she seems to be happy, staying with them like in a way.
Yeah. So yeah, Fushi sees this, and now he's like, I guess after that, he's just starting to question like what he should do. So he turns into a fish and he swims away, and we see the vice president of that club. He's goes out fishing with the rest of his club, and while after like the rest of the club members leave, he ends up catching Fushi, who then transforms back into his human self. And of course, the kid is just completely like taken aback by this, and tries to get basically like tries to convince Fushi to like um try to, I guess, he pretends to be like he's hurt, or that he can't really move, so that Fushi will just take him back to his house. Um and then once Fushi gets back to his house, his grandfather lives there, and I guess his sister, and his grandfather like wants to basically like threatens to call the police. um but then the kid basically like tries to convince his grandfather that um that there's I guess there's no reason to, but That's when we see like Fushi transform into his wolf form. So then after that, they like the sister sees this and she like basically like I guess pleads with the grandfather that they if they can like keep Fushi, pretty much almost like he's a dog. Um, but and so Fushi stays just because I guess he likes the food, and then that's when he decides to like have I think it was Aiko and a horse he like come back and like live I guess live at the house. So now like Aiko and that horse is I guess there with them. Um, but then we see I guess obviously it seems like along with them like all the other people that were important to Fushi in the past are also probably going to end up be coming back and living in the modern era as well.
He from what I can tell, he's resurrected them in different parts of the world. I don't know
Yeah.
but
I guess it's just like wherever they're. I don't know. Like I don't know how it works. Like maybe it's just wherever their remains ended up, or I'm not
yeah.
sure.
And
But
another odd thing. I mean, it kind of got spoiled in the opening, but it seems like Tonori got resurrected into her younger self rather than her older self.
oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't. I'm not really sure why that's the case.
I mean, they'll probably
But
explain it later, but yeah.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I don't think he's resurrected everybody from what I can tell. I mean, obviously, like,
Mhm.
he didn't resurrect everybody all at once. It didn't take him until he resurrected the horse and Aiko a little bit later in the episode. But of course, by the end of the episode, we catch up back with what was it with Mizuha, um, just walking down the street, leaving school, and then she comes across Fushi just sitting on a balcony, drinking boba tea again.
Well, before they meet up too, like she, um, the one kid like that takes Fushi back to his place. Of course, like he says that he won't tell anybody about Fushi, but of course, like when he goes back to school, he just tells
Yeah, he
everybody
tells
about what happened.
everybody. Uh,
But of course, nobody really believes him, except that yeah, when Mizuha hears the name Fushi, she seems to recognize it, and she says it sounds nostalgic, and yeah, of course, leads up to the scene where she, of course, meets up with Fushi. Um, so obviously, like just considering the way the episode ended, it seems pretty clear that she's uh she's going to be a pretty important character. I mean, um, I don't really know what direction they're going to take I don't know if you'd say like the relationship with Fushi and her, but I like I said, I'm just kind of hoping it doesn't really go down the same path that went down the past few times with him interacting with the with Hayase's clan. Um,
it's just it's
but
just
yeah, I don't.
it's just the over the past several generations, you know, like outside. I mean, Fushi already hated Hayase to begin with, but he's never
Yeah,
had like a good relationship with any of the descendants like whatsoever, and I don't know, maybe there's a possibility that something might be different in comparison with Mizuha, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he won't know that, she's a descendant of Heisei and, from the start, but maybe he'll find out later. But in terms of
yeah.
like, he'll treat her like will I mean, will he treat her like with the same contempt as he did with, the previous generations, or, will something be different with, with Mizuha in particular?
Yeah, honestly, it would be refreshing if something were different with her, and it's just not the same thing again. Because at that point, the story would just start to get really repetitive with just doing the same thing over and over again with these characters. Um, but yeah, I mean, I also liked the setting. At least is different this time. Like now, it's in the modern day. So I mean, that was interesting. I mean, a lot of people say that this is probably the weakest part of the manga when they transition to the modern day setting, but so far, I think it's like I said. I feel like it's refreshing now that it's not the same like medieval esque setting we've been getting, and it's something different at least. But I'm just not really sure how they're going to take advantage of it being like in a different
I
setting.
mean, it was gonna head into a modern setting, regardless due to Fushi's
Yeah.
immortality. So eh, I do have a feeling, yeah, and of course, minor spoilers. It does get even. The story moves in further into the future, um, but I guess we'll see where where this setting goes with all the new characters that Fushi is going to be interacting with. Same with Fushi's friends who he's brought back and how they're going to navigate this whole you know brand new setting which they're not familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, not a bad first episode. Like, not great, but it's pretty much what we've come to expect from the series, I
Yeah,
guess.
I
Um,
don't know. I just
so
feel like Fushi's introduction into the modern era just comes across a little bit awkward, just due to the fact that not a lot of people
yeah,
really took issue with. I mean, first off, like he got run over by.
I think it's
Yeah,
even more egregious the fact that like I mentioned, like when he first starts transforming into his like animal form, the grandfather doesn't really seem to. I mean, of course, he seems surprised at first, but he doesn't really seem like it's all that weird that there's just a guy that can transform into a wolf and can also like just materialize people, or like a person and a horse out of his hand.
and also
Um,
the fact that like some random guy just walks up to him, takes him to a hospital, and offers to
yeah.
pay his hospital bills for out of
Well,
nowhere.
well, I thought you were going to mention like just the fact that some random guy comes into their
Yeah,
house,
well, no, and
and now like the grandfather.
it,
Well, I just think, I mean, the grandfather, not even just regardless of the fact that Fushi can do all this like crazy fantastical stuff, like some random guy just like, I mean, supposedly I guess he saved your grandson or whatever, but you're willing to let him like stay at your house, like he's pretty much a complete stranger. Like, I don't know, maybe in Japan, of course, I'm pretty sure it's different, but it's just kind of I don't know, it's just like the grandfather doesn't really seem to have much of an issue
no,
with it.
I
uh,
mean, unless I mean, unless I could speculate that he's also a descendant of the Heisei clan, but it's hard to tell. But
I almost wonder if I mean the grandkids, like the sister at least kind of looks a little bit like what was it, like Bond's family a little bit, just like they have similar features,
yeah,
but I
I
don't.
I guess it could be possible they could be descendants of um one of Fushi's old friends several generations ago. But yeah, uh
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I am glad it's back, and it is it is in a brand new setting, which takes place in a modern setting. Um, I'm hoping something will be different in terms of with Mizuha, which we know for a fact that she's a descendant of Hayase, but I'm hoping something will be a little bit different. Uh, with her and Fushi interacting uh, to the point where like Fushi will might not feel as much contempt for her in comparison to like all the previous descendants that he's had to interact with.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much else to say about the episode, though. I don't know if you have anything else
No,
to
I
say.
mean, yeah. So um, it's gonna be 2 episodes longer than the previous season, so it's gonna be what 22 episodes for this season in comparison to the 20 each that the first 2 seasons had.
Is the manga over yet, or is it still
No,
going? That's like, I
as
mean,
far as I know, it's still going.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wonder if they're like planning to eventually adapt the rest of it,
Yeah,
but I'm guessing that obviously they'd have to wait until it's actually
yeah.
finished.
It's
I mean, I remember, it's funny because I remember hearing not that long ago that the manga was about to be finished, but I mean that was about a year ago now,
yeah.
I think. So I mean, I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
Maybe they're gonna.
Um,
Maybe the writer's still figuring out a way to to properly finish it. But from what I can
yeah.
tell, that the modern day story arc is finished in the manga. So
Mhm.
this season will obviously just be mainly focused on the modern day story arc, and not of course maybe season 4 will focus on maybe a futuristic setting later. But I haven't read that far, so uh I don't know any specific details of like kind of what goes on in like that setting or what's going on with the characters there.
Yeah. But yeah, guys. So that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.